Hey everybody, Arco here, and this is take 3 of this post audio here. The audio for this tournament match annoyingly got messed up during the recording, and hopefully this time it'll actually run properly here. But as you can see, we are playing the third week of the Resistor's Futile Map Pack Battle Zombie Tournament. And we are on Earth 2209 AD, which isn't a part of the map pack, but in weeks 1 and 2, 1, 2, 4, and 5, you play the maps on the pack, and week 3 is a wild card map of sorts. And this was the map voted in, and as you can see, there's no fog, but there's supposed to be fog, but the groups that played before us accidentally played without fog. So now the rest of us also get to play without fog. For better or for worse, that's up to you, or up to player preference here. But just showing the settings list there, and I believe I go over my opponents here soon. We got theAPESflynPOO, who is one of the tournament leaders going into this game. We also have Pentix. Come on, click the thing. There we go. We got Pentix, then we got Pierre Stonefield 10, and then we got ourselves, and then an expert bot due to not having the full group show up. But this is Earth 2209 Progressive Zombies. And so we are in the second last position. Normally you don't go for bonuses on this map, but I do see myself potentially looking to grab the center. But here I'm still hesitant on whether I should go for it because I don't have any blizzard assistance, so I would have to guard pretty much every every aspect of that bonus, and I'm not fully sure what the zombie pathing is here. And the bot going last is an interesting turn order there because the bot, as you'll see with a bunch of turns later on, will look to hit a bunch of zombies on their turn and cause some potentially interesting things to happen. But nothing too fancy here for the earlier rounds. Just people getting their cards and passing. And for our first turn, I was looking at how do I save as many of my positions as possible. And so that is what I was looking towards doing. Pointing out there that the blizzards in the Oceania region and Asia region there create a dead end where that orange one is, meaning that Pierre Stonefield essentially has a kill guard on the bot permanently. Now looking back at that, what I could have tried is adding all of my troops to that top 2 and attacking one spot to the right, sort of threatening that kill guard of sorts, eh? But I didn't think of this in the game. As I said, I was still trying to save as many of my troops as possible here, and that is what I go with. So I do add some to both my southern and central positions. We do spawn a lot in the center and not too many exteriors, which isn't the greatest of spawns. But it's also not too terrible, since we have a lot of material that we can consolidate. But I do get my take there, and look to save as many troops as possible once the zombies come in here. And as predicted, the bot does hit some zombies, not as many as I hoped, since by attacking the 5-on-2 instead of the 7-on-2, that does stop the bot from potentially taking out that zombie 4. Pardon me. And we see the zombie turn come in. I don't believe nothing too crazy happened. Everybody kept their kept a lot of their main stuff alive. And R2 there was saved by the zombie prioritizing the portal attack instead of rolling the 4v2 on us. And that zombie 5v2 fails. And R2 in the Russia bonus does get taken out by those stack of zombies though. So now any possible plans of denying Pierre Stonefield the bot kill is completely gone. So that is a possible move I could have tried at the beginning. And what theAPESflynPOO does is interesting. He tries to go for the Oceania bonus, and he gets great dice on the 2. And so because he gets great dice on the 2 and loses nothing, he then decides to take the zombies out of that position, which I believe are 100% rolls and balance blitz at least. And there's unstable portals, meaning that at the end of this turn, that portal in the Oceania bonus will no longer be there. Meaning that theAPESflynPOO did a good job at clearing them out of there and setting himself up to take that +5 on the next turn. He even fortifies his 2 pardon me, out of the center through the portal. And we see that and we're like, well, not too much we can do about that either since the portals are closing. And I was still debating whether or not I could have gone for that central bonus there or not. I maybe could have pulled it off for 1 turn at least, since the zombies weren't too concentrated in the center. And as you notice, Pentix takes the Canada bonus, or what it's called on this map, Western Arctic. So I show the continents once again. And yeah, maybe going for that bonus hold could have been a move that we tried to do on this turn. That 4 could have come down to hit the 2 1s. That maybe could have added a couple troops to make 2s on the other borders closest to the zombie one in that Russia territory. So there's one thing that's beneficial of recording games, is that in the moment I wasn't fully sure if I could take and hold this, but especially since I held 12 territories still, that I definitely could have saved or tried to guard that area. That would have meant my South America position likely dying though, and that is what I choose to prioritize in the game. I choose to try and keep that stack alive, and then forego trying to take the bonus, and just look to consolidate my stacks together there instead. So I do decide that course of action, and we do make our stacks, our 2-4 stacks, a 7, which for not caring about holding the bonus is perfectly fine. But I forgot that the bot goes right after us, and the bots in this game like to prioritize hitting zombies as much as possible. They just like to hit them a lot, which lowers the zombie troop count down, which increases the chance of a stack infection happening. And I'm thinking now, after seeing all these attacks, oh crap, my 7 might be the victim of an infect. But thankfully, nobody gets infected. And one detail about this specific zombie tournament is that if a player gets infected, that player gets one additional, I guess, bonus point, if you will. Only once per game, though, as there have been, I think, a couple cases in the past where when it comes down to two players and the zombies, the uh, one player was in like a clear winning position, they would trap the other player and try and force the zombies to infect them over and over again for points. So that's why that is only locked to once per game. So that turn, I think, was the most likely chance of it happening. That turn and possibly this turn. Because the zombies are still fairly weak, and the bot will likely hit a bunch more on their turn anyways. As you can see, theAPESflynPOO now is able to take over the Oceania bonus, and thanks to those blizzards in the Indonesia area, thanks to those blizzards there, he only has to worry about guarding it from 2 spots, which is very helpful in holding a bloody +5. And Pentix does get to hold on to the +4, the Western Arctic bonus. And in the game, I was double checking, like, holy crap, he actually held it. Yeah, so now that puts both red and purple ahead of me, and Pierre with the kill guard on the bot essentially ensures that he's going to be fed a bunch of troops. Once the bot slowly but surely weakens themselves to the zombies so much that that one orange one in the dead end will be the last territory there. So he's going to get probably at least 3 cards from it. So he'll get a bunch of troops that way, which kind of leaves us out to dry in the middle of the board. Not much going on. Funny enough, this turn we still hold on to the 12 territory bonus troop in the center there, actually holding 13. Bot is going to get it as well, but this is the next turn that the zombies are likely going to gain a bunch of troops. Whether an infect chance is a part of that, I'm not entirely sure what the odds are. There are other players in the community that are more knowledgeable and better at me than in zombie games, so they'll they'll know a lot more info than I will about this sort of thing. But yeah. And funny enough, Pierre's kill guard there also quote unquote denies the bot from taking over I think it's a +9, that East Asia bonus. Not like it was going to be held or anything, but kind of interesting. So the zombies get a bunch per turn. They don't make too many attacks, since a lot of the stacks in the western half of the map are high enough to be blocked. The only quote-unquote notable position is Pierre's 2 getting taken out. Not quite yet, but you'll see it in a moment here once the zombies are done tearing through a bunch of bot 1 territories. There it is, the 5-on-2 into the 3-on-1. They take over a bunch more of the board. Our opponent's still holding on to their bonuses and kill guards respectively. And as the bot still slowly weakens, it's looking more and more doomed for us at this point. I'm still just in the game, or in the moment, I'm still just focused on consolidating my stuff in the center and just hoping for the best. Not really too much else to do here. Going from this, because I am well behind in troops. So Pierre is as well for now, but again, he has the kill guard, which he'll be getting more troops out of that later as a mid-game troop investment, so to speak. And so everyone's still keeping their bonus borders guarded and main exteriors alive. Still just playing out the early game. Against good players, a lot of early games in progressive, whether that's World Dom, Zombies, 70, doesn't matter. A lot of the early games are fairly cut and dry. Nothing, not too much goes on in there because everyone kind of knows not to hit each other early too much because that sinks both players' games right away. And that doesn't create any long-term benefits, so to speak. So a lot of times the early games will be pretty tame. And if you notice here, Pentix makes 2 attacks in to try and move his center position a bit further east. But what he managed to do was go into a territory that is owned by many bots. Is owned by the bot for many territories. Jeez, I can barely speak anymore. We're on the third take of this wonderful audio recording. Yeah. And the reason I point that out for Pentix's move is that the bot owns 5 out of 7 territories. And so the bot, as you'll see shortly, decides that it wants that bonus. Even though it's going to be broken by the zombies, I'm surprised that I'm surprised even in the moment that they stopped hitting the zombies this turn. But the bot trades in on 3, along with the 12 troop bonus, makes the portal at the bottom an 8, and smacks Pentix's 5 for no real reason. And they don't even finish taking the bonus. The bot doesn't even add to the 2 there to take out the black 1 after Pierre fortified his 5 stack back. And as you see there, I'm just like, geez, feel bad. I feel a bit bad for Pentix there. That bot move didn't make much sense considering the fact that this was a zombie game. The zombies gain a bunch more troops this turn, so the bot is gonna get weakened even further. Pentix made his stack of 6 there in South America, and that was just enough not to get rolled by that zombie 11. On expert difficulty, at least, the zombies, it might apply to all other difficulty levels, I'm not sure, but zombies like to, or will only attack you if they have double the troops of the stack of the territory that they're looking to attack. So if that zombie stack at the bottom was a 12 instead of an 11, it would have rolled Pentix's 6. But because it was lower, it does not. And if the zombie stack was a 14 or higher, it may have rolled either Pierre's 7 or Pentix's 6, depending on whatever the primary pathing is. And then if it was a 16 or higher, there's a chance that my 8 could have been rolled in that equation. There's players that try and figure all those details out constantly, and I am not one of them. I am not really bothered with all that, but kudos to all those that do put in the effort to try and figure the zombies out, I guess. The one good use that I've had for that is early turn 0 and 1 zombie movement for 2v2 matches. That is the one that is the one area I've gotten good use. Not just me, many of the 2v2 players have gotten good use of that early zombie pathing knowledge for those. But beyond that, it becomes a very extremely tedious. But yeah, still nothing major still going on. Pentix does trade in early, looking to help guard his bonus still, as an unstable portal just moved into the northwest US there. Oh yeah, and one move that I completely missed just now is that as soon as theAPESflynPOO took the bonus out on the third turn, I believe it was, he immediately card skipped, knowing that if we were all to follow card skip, then he and Pentix would get farther and farther ahead the longer that we do it. And thankfully, Pentix didn't card skip, because then Pierre and I also bit the bullet there and had to take cards to not, quote unquote, fall too far behind. Yes, that is. Still forget about that moment now. As we're showing, we do have a set on 4. We're debating having to trade. Not wanting to trade, but we still think that we should be safe to hold out to the 5 cards. Our 10 is somewhat farther away from all the players, but you'll see a lot of the portal rotations spawn very close to that territory. And very convenient for both Pentix and Apes is that the portals rarely spawn anywhere threatening for their bonuses. So they still get to hold their bonuses and receive those extra troops without really having to defend much, and allowing them to keep their troops in more offensive positions, which is also really annoying. Another really annoying fact about this game. So I believe I was still debating on whether or not I should be trading here or not. But I decided not to. And we just keep our stacks roughly even. And we do get a +2 on our northern territory there. And the bot locks the 5 that they made with the attacks from that 3. So the bot will have at least that position alive come next turn, which is important because that makes it more difficult for Pierre to get the bounty this turn if they do decide to try and go for it. And also another important zombie attack here is going to be the 5-on-2. At the top there, you see it through the cards. The bot 2 survives against that zombie 5, creating another position that Pierre would have to go through. And also, if you notice in the cards that the +2 that I had mentioned earlier is not a part of the trade that we're forced to do. Even more good news for us this game. So yeah. So the bot early traded the 4. Pentix trades in the 6. Early trades the 6, but he would have gotten the 6 anyways had Apes not card skipped, so that's not too much of a difference. And the trade-in helped keep his bonus guarded nice and strong. And as you saw with pulling up the settings there, I remind everybody that these are 90-second turn timers for this game specifically, instead of 60 seconds. Not entirely sure why, but 90 seconds is always a nice nod to the mobile players with how the current attack speed difference is at the time of this recording. So again, these next few turns, nothing too major happens. Everybody's still guarding up their pardon me, just guarding up their areas, taking a card. So we all accelerate a little bit there. Now Pentix here leaves that part of the bonus unguarded because once again the portals will close. And I guess he is trusting both Pierre and Apes not to break him there. And Pentix does act after Apes, so if Apes were to move that 15 stack down to let the zombies in, for example, then Pentix could respond accordingly by defending. But one interesting thing with that move, to put the 8 in the center there through that portal, is now Pentix also has a threat to take the bot bounty, especially if he has a set on 3, because his 6 lines up with the 2 already. I can add a bit more on the stack in the center to take out that position, assuming it survives. And then most of the trade would go in onto the 6 in Alaska to blast through Pierre's 12 stack and take the bot bounty and the 3 cards. Here we were wondering in game if we could do much both in game and post game. I don't see any any major moves I could have made. But here you'll notice we get a wild card as the 3rd card. So we do have this set on 3 if we want. But really weakening itself in that in that middle position. And I can't remember fully what gets killed and what doesn't there from the zombies. So we'll get a nice little refresher there. That 2 up there does survive the zombie attack again, this time a 4v2 instead of a 5-on-2. After the trade there from Apes, he is on a nice number of troops, which is an absurd amount to be on at this part of the game. Everybody playing well here. I think that's the first unstable portal or major unstable portal threat to the bonus that Apes had to deal with, but he now has way more than enough troops to deal with it. And continues to, I guess, be quote-unquote good neighbors with Pentix, since they're somewhat close together at least. But either way, Pentix does not get broken there. But Pentix does not have a trade on 3 and decides not to go for the bot kill. And Pentix defends that unstable portal in South America. Now Pierre trades in on 3 to stay alive. And now what we should be doing is also trading in on 3. But in the moment, for whatever reason, I think, right, I have a wild card that I don't really want to use. Because my thinking was, if I could hold out for one more turn without trading, and then trade in on 4 without having to use it, that would help keep me alive for the next set of turns. But what I failed to realize is that there wasn't going to be another set of turns if I didn't trade. So here in the game, we're debating what the very obvious choice to trade, but I'm really not wanted to use the wild card. But obviously, the correct move here is to trade and stay alive there. But I decided not to because my other thinking was Pierre had just traded. He doesn't have lines on me in the bottoms there, and I don't see how the others would uh, get enough troops to take out my positions there. But more reasons why this was a major mistake from me is that the portals are now opened. Or once the bot takes the turn, the bot also didn't have a set on 3. So once the portals open here, that opens up a lot of kill lines from other players. So the zombies take out all of the bot's positions in the center here. And I believe, more importantly, that 2 is finally going to die because there's a portal. Multiple zombie portals armies can attack it. So now Pierre has the free bot bounty here. But because we didn't trade, here is now what happens to us. So you'll see in a second here. theAPESflynPOO has the trade on 3, even after the card skip. And as you can see, with my mouse movement there, I was thinking, oh, okay, he might be lining up to hop to that portal and bust through Pierre's stack to take the bot 4 cards. But no, I was blind to the fact that he can easily just kill us. 26 hits the zombie 10, and then our 14. 17 is 100% roll on the 11, of course, and then the 29 hops to that portal that spawned right beside our middle stack. And so we get taken out. And while this doesn't give Apes an in-turn trade, as you can see, even after that, without an in-turn trade, he's still in the troop lead. So that was a very good and profitable kill overall for theAPESflynPOO. Now, even with the bot not having a set on 3, and Apes having a set on 3, even assuming all of that didn't happen, but the bot was reduced to the 1 territory again, Pierre, with the 1 card, that's going to turn into 5 cards after he kills the bot, using that in-turn trade would have likely been enough to then chain it into a kill on us, because his 2 stacks in the center could have come down to try and attempt to kill our stacks there, and then whatever he had at the top, maybe 20, 30 something, would have been able to easily bust through some zombies and then hit us in the center there. So either way, by not trading there, we gave likely kill to either red or black in that turn. So more and more reasons why that was a very bad decision on my part to not trade in on 3 there. I was too low in the turn order to try and greed out, and I definitely got punished for that, and do deserve last place in the game, even even below the bot in terms of points for there. So Pierre does take the bot bounty, obviously, and keeps 3 strong positions alive. And funny enough, Pentix was able to hold a second bonus here because the portals had just turned off. So he was able to 4-point guard all those bonuses thanks to the Hawaii Blizzard. And so now the 3 remaining players are roughly even in troops, but both Apes and Pentix are trading in this turn, and they're both still holding bonuses, so they are still both ahead of Pierre. But Pierre at least has a bounty going for himself, although he is behind in cards and troops. I don't believe anything major happens this turn. Apes just correctly guarding up his borders again. Pentix holding on to the bonuses does get 12 troops this turn, along with a trade, so he's right up there with theAPESflynPOO now in the what I call the technical troop lead. And doesn't for this turn doesn't decide to go for anything, just places some of those troops on the portals that will be opening the following turn, allowing him to continue holding that plus 12. Guards and places his main stack in the middle of the map. And Pierre gets an easy card on the red 1 there. Did not have a set on 3 after using the bots trade there, so Pierre is now holding on to 4 cards. Not much going on there from the zombies. See with the 90-second turn timer, Apes is considering what to do here, and what he ends up deciding to do is that he trades on 3, and he decides to go for the kill on Pierre Stonefield. Now similarly, he had more than enough troops to do it, similar to the kill on us when he traded in on 3 for our 4 cards. But here I think he makes a bit of a mistake in troop placement. So he puts just enough to do a safe roll on the left stack, and I think he put a few too many on that stack in the center there, because he has to blast through a bunch of zombies at the top, and his rolls just quite aren't good enough. It comes down to a 24 on 23, and that fails. I'm sure that's above 50% roll on balanced blitz, but he gets the unlucky roll on that, and it does feed the kill to Pentix, since Pentix goes right after theAPESflynPOO. And Pierre jamming out there. Not a fan of what happened, but I think Apes had it if he placed a few more troops on the bottom right portal there instead of the center stack, because you can see he was left over with 13 troops on the middle stack. Now, as a true random player, I've been overshooting or undershooting balanced blitz troop values on a lot of these games. And that's been one of the things I've had to adjust to the more and more balanced blitz tournaments that I play. But some of my earlier tournaments were really bad at that, but I have been slowly but surely getting better. But one interesting thing here, Pentix relies on the 10v5v1, which is very safe in balanced blitz, but there still is a very small chance of losing like 6 or 7 troops on the 5 when using the 10 to kill the 5, and then the 3-on-1 failing after. That would have been a very unlucky and devastating result there. But with the kill on to Pierre, Pentix gets an in-turn trade, and the trades are high enough to where he now also gets the kill on theAPESflynPOO. So that is the game. Pentix is the winner. And in terms of kills, points, bounties, and all that, we have Pentix in first with 2 bounties. Then Apes in second with 1 bounty. Pierre in third with 1 bounty. The, the AI in fourth. And then ourselves in fifth. And after that dumb decision not to trade in on 3, we do deserve fifth this game. But one saving grace about this tournament is that out of the 5 weeks, your points do get tracked for all 5 weeks, but you have an option between giving yourself a bye week for one of the 5 weeks, or if you play all 5 weeks, your lowest score out of the 5 will be dropped from your overall total standings at the end. So this game, as of right now, is obviously our lowest our lowest score so far. So that will be the one dropped at the end of the tournament. So there is still a small sliver of a chance for us if we get really good games on week 4 and 5 to be in like the top 3 or whatever the prizing is for this tournament. But we definitely have a tougher shot at it now after this mistake here. And granted, what I was coping with in the moment at least was that I was like, I just accelerated the inevitable of eventually my opponents waiting for me to not have a trade on 3, and then either Apes or Pentix, the one holding bonuses, would go for my kill. But if I had traded in on 3 there, Apes maybe would have used his trade to blast through Pierre's kill guard instead and maybe take the bot's 4 cards or something. And then that could have been a difference in outcome to where I at the very least get a higher placement, because maybe Pierre would have been taken out for the 2 stacks that he would have had remaining. So by trading in on 3 there was a better chance of me at worst placing 3rd or 4th instead of 5th. And that's just and even though I wanted to greed and save my wild for the next turn if I got a trade on 4 without having to use it, I just need to keep reminding myself that in these tournaments, players will go for anything as long as you give them the opportunity. And especially with fog off this game, I definitely gave my opponents the easy opportunity to take me out here. Now there is a small or a slightly bigger chance that if fog were on this game, that I could have gotten away with that for the 1 turn. But definitely with fog off, that was the objectively incorrect move. And while I have done moves like that in the past, not trading in when I should have in prog games, I have gotten better at that overall, but I still need to discipline myself when it comes to these sort of things. I'm used to I'm used to not taking cards as often, so when I get the power of trades in on cards, I want to save it. I want to save it for as long as possible. But yeah, simple mistake to correct. I just need to tell myself to not do dumb stuff like that again in the future. But either way, enough about me and my dumb mistake. Well played to my opponents overall. Outside of that one troop misalignment or whatever the correct wording is, by apes in the center on the kill on Pierre. Everything else was played very, very well. So yeah, this should be the end of the game here soon. Pentix has more than enough troops to take out the zombies here. I believe he waits one more turn before fully going for it. But yeah, that'll be week 3 of this tournament. There are 2 more weeks of this tournament to follow. And speaking of tournaments, there's still more of those. We are playing our oh god, looking at this schedule is hilarious. We have our classic tournament round 5 quarterfinal match. Later on in the week, we have our Legends quarterfinal match. And those settings are flippin' hilarious. We have Major League Risk Week 3 on the Sunday. Still not fully sure who's playing that one, if it's going to be myself or Ben. We'll have to have a chat there. There'll be this week 4, obviously. That'll be sometime Friday or Saturday, maybe. I'm not entirely sure there. 5-a-side starting up soon. There's a Risk World Cup coming up for next month. There's a 3-a-side random 2v2 event. The 3v3 tournament starts next week. We are going to be swamped, but we are going to play in a bunch of these and just see what the heck happens and continue to enjoy ourselves. But alright. That's the very rough scheduling update there. More tournaments and the odd random BS/Rivertown setting, of course. But yeah, there's the final turn here. Pentix, and that is the end of the game. Giving over my thoughts in the moment, but alright. That should be the end here. But once again, see you guys soon again. GG's to our opponents. And until next time, everybody, take care and cheers for stopping by.